What's going on, people? It's Manuel Godoy here. I haven't got on live since the campaign has gone, mostly because I just needed a break, right? We were campaigning like crazy for, I'd say, about almost a month straight. We were just going ham every single day. So we're back. We're about to start working on on the anime production, and today I have a special guest because our animation, specifically our action director for our anime, Jung Yun, is with me today, and he's going to be talking to us about all the cool things he's been doing, right? Who he is as a creator in first place, and what we've done so far in the Black Sands anime and what we plan on doing from here. So without further ado, I'm introducing Jung Yun. He can go in and introduce himself to you guys, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, don't hesitate to ask me questions if I kind of block between because I don't want to do all my introduction in long because there's too much things to say, but it's not always interesting. So my name is Jonghyun. I'm from France and I'm graduate from Goblins for people who knows. And I've been working first in CG and like live movies and also CG films like Minions and Arcane, things like that. But then I actually really liked all the 2D animation, traditional animation, so I started working on more Japanese animations like what do people knows? Bleach, uh, Vinland Saga, Dragon Ball Daima recently, One Piece, things
Mm-hmm.
like that. And I still do also work with a lot of big studios like Riot and Ubisoft and studios like that to make their trailers and storyboards. So that's how I started to make a lot of more like directing, storyboarding things, and then I got to work with Black Sands, which was really interesting and could really put my how to say my style on it, and I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, one
Yeah,
thing we don't have a hard style when we're going into this, so that's always a good thing for someone like you who's more on the creative side, who has a very unique style of action. A lot of times when you go into a production for you, right? If you go into the One Piece production, right, you got to do it. You got to somehow adhere to what their normal style of action is, right?
of
You
course.
can't just go and change it, right?
Hmm.
So it's good to see that. I did see that you had some liberties when it came to to things like Vinland Saga, because I know in your particular scenes,
Mm-mm.
what's very different from how action is
Um,
done.
yeah, actually didn't go about the liberty I'm taking. It's more about that actually I get corrections in some of the productions in a way that it's better for them or just simply easier to do for their production pipeline, stuff like that. So sometimes it doesn't change at all. That sometimes it changes. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've noticed that you also do a lot of visual art, like visual effects work too.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Tell us about that a bit too, because it's not just animation; it's also visual effects that you're.
Yeah, because I do 2D animation, but not only like character animation. So sometimes even in the 3D films like Arcane, they also use like 2D FXs because they like to mix the medias like that. So since I do both character and FX, sometimes there are projects that are fully done in 3D and they just ask me to do some FX on it. So I do that too.
Roger that. And you're not by yourself, right? You actually have a team, right?
I have a team when because I have a little startup in South Korea, and when I have a bigger order, let's say, I kind of tend to, you know, pick up some of my acquaintance to work with me. But then usually I more often have works to do on my own as a freelancer.
Got you. Yeah. So when we first approached you for this anime and stuff like that, the main thing we were concerned about was that we didn't want action scenes to be Americanized, right?
Hmm.
We didn't want it to be very boxed up and everybody's doing overly exaggerated movements and stuff. We wanted
Hmm.
to have like a realistic kind of like combat style, right? And quick. quick with a lot of impact. I think you really captured that well in a lot of the shots that you made, right?
Mm-hmm.
So from the original style that you were doing to kind of like when I was kind of giving you some feedback on some of the scenes, and I was saying, hey, this needs to be this way or whatever. How did
Mm-hmm.
you what did you think about that? Like when I was like kind of like directing you from what you originally intended to what we ended up with in the production.
I actually don't even think that you made me change that much things. You gave me a lot of like liberty about the actual choreography or the I don't know the action style of it. But since you're actually not just someone who is um, directing a production, but also the original author of the content itself. So you're the one who knows best about what happens and how the story should kind of link together. And so, is in terms of storytelling, if you say that something is not making sense or something like that, it's good to know to fix here and there and make it more fluid or something like that. So I really didn't feel like it was difficult to to match it, and mostly because you almost didn't give me like big mistakes, and it was really
Yeah,
uh,
I don't like huge retakes on things, especially later in the process. I like it real early if I can.
mhm,
Just because I know how things get expensive wise. Like you don't want people to redo weeks of work. You know what I mean?
mhm,
But you never really landed far away. I think we only had like one issue of SAR, right? But that was it. Everybody. And once we fixed that, he just started, firing off on all cylinders every scene. So that was
mhm,
pretty good. When we came down to it, we still got some more work to do, right? We've done all the animatics, we did all the original stuff that needs to go into the pre-production and stuff. So
mhm,
now they're going to be basically working full time in animation. I know. Carl is still talking with you on how to bring you in is more on the as you were saying, basically like making sure that they don't mess up, right?
mhm.
It's like keeping the standards up to par to
I
what
mean,
you envisioned.
yeah, we can say it that way, but it depends on what they think about how it's difficult to read on my animatics and
Yeah,
how accurate they can get their stuff. It depends on the level of the team. It depends on the style of pipeline and workflow of the team. But also, I was thinking that yeah, it's always great to keep following on a project like this because I got to kind of direct the action sequences, and so
yeah.
I'm
I think that
kind
was
of involved
something
in it.
when I originally reached out to you and I was talking to Carl and stuff like that. One of the things that I was saying specifically was that I really wanted this to be like, obviously we're not going to outbid Riot, right?
Hmm.
We're not going to outbid these other people, but the fact that you have more of a creative say in this, the fact that you can take that director role as opposed to just a freelance hand, right, or subcontracted
Hmm.
animator, right? That's a hell of a resume builder, right? Because me personally, I think you have the skill to do that, right? And you just don't get those opportunities because they want to hold on to the power, right? It's like it's like no one wants to go and say this guy's my assistant director. They don't want to
Well,
say that,
it
even if
depends. It depends. It's a big it's an opportunity. It's also a responsibility. So I had I got to direct one or two things before too, but every time it depends on either if it's just a very quick trailer we had to make in 1 month or something where you can put a little bit more of you. But what is cool is that there's a lot of different parts in the anime, and also I think we are going to try to keep important things making done with more time and more energy, and
yeah.
other things like trying to be more economic, and which is normal. And then I think I can put more of my how to say that, I can give a little bit more help on the bit difficult part of those, and maybe some of the shots I would like to animate myself. I don't know, but I think there's a lot of cool stuff to do that is remaining. So yeah, I'm happy to stay on the boat for now, if it's possible.
Yeah, 100%, man. I honestly think you'll probably be with us for a very long time at the end of the day, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we're not Japanese, right? So because we're not Japanese, it's hard to ever like upgrade to ufotable or something like that. You can't just go and be like, okay, I'm gonna get this super studio now that we're successful. Like no matter how successful Black Sand is gonna be, we're still going to be using mid-size, right, to small size studios for everything, no matter
Hmm.
what, because we're just not Japanese, right? We're not those companies, right?
Hmm.
And they do like working for their own, corporation and stuff. They just like it. It's just like their traditions.
Hmm.
So the likelihood that we'll be able to pick up a studio here and there, I mean, maybe Studio Mirror, that's possible, right? But but at the same time, it's a long wait line for them, you know. So at the end of the day, we got to pick our stars, right? We got to pick the people who can get the job done at that level, right? While not having that crazy pipeline that they have, 2 or 3 years out, 4 years out to be considered, right? It's
Hmm.
like we got to make our show, and I think that's something that a lot of our fans don't realize is that we're on a very quick schedule.
Hmm.
Like we're trying to get to the movie theaters by February, right? And we're trying to be done with the entire movie by October. So it's like that's right around the corner, and I'm excited that we're doing this and that people have availability. I remember when we were first talking to you, that was one of our big things was, do you have the availability to pick up this project, right? To do the whole movie. Right?
Hmm.
But that worked out with us, and I was happy about that. Does that usually happen? Do you usually have like that time frame you can actually pick up a whole film, or is this something that just happened to be lucky? We happen to have a gap in the schedule.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, I also I was thinking that we were just doing the pilots and we're waiting for to see what happens and stuff. So
Oh,
I
that's
was
what you originally
pretty.
thought it was just a pilot.
I don't know, but that's what I did also before when I was trying to do some of our own stuff. It's also always difficult. So I'm positively surprised to see that this keep going on, and it's really great.
Yeah, so a lot of you guys in the audience right now, if you don't know, I did talk to Carl recently, and he said that most likely we're not going to be seeking additional funding from
Hmm.
outside investors. So we got enough that we can actually finish this damn thing, right? And we're gonna have to play with the books a bit to go and make the numbers work out right, but we shouldn't have to go and ask nobody else for nothing because that takes a lot of time. When you ask people for stuff, they want rights and they want certain things they have to do and where you can distribute it. There's a whole
Hmm.
bunch of stuff that you kind of don't want to have from outside investors if you could help it, right? So we shouldn't have to go for outside investment. We should be able to run right through this. Um, so that's really good. As far as um, well, I guess that's really all I got right now as far as questions.
Hmm.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give people some updates on what we're going to be doing for this, and I'm also going to be opening up the chat for questions. So if you have any questions for Jung Yun, now's the time to go and ask him any questions in the comment section, and I'll start pulling them up once I see them. But let me go and give y'all some updates on what's going on with the production. So in April, we are going to be going into full production. Okay, we've already done the animatics for episode 1, 2, and 3, which is basically the entire movie. Now we're doing our sound cut, which is basically just saying all the voiceovers that's been done, because every single voiceover has been done, is now being cut into the automatic. So it's going to be timed certain ways so that everything's timed correctly. And they're probably going to redraw some things to make sure that it lines up right with the voice syncing and stuff like that. But it's pretty much going to be a wrap. Once that's approved, it's full animation the entire time. There's two teams. All right. One team does regular stuff. So in other words, dialogue, conversational stuff, no action. Other team, nothing but action, right? And they're more elite. They've been doing it for a while. They've worked on animes and stuff like that for a while. Jung Yoon's probably going to be a part of that team, right? To go work with them. But that's going to be how the production is going to work. So what you're going to see is you're going to see a ton of updates from the non-action side, You're gonna see a lot of stuff from them, right? Because I'm gonna be sharing it all over the place, letting y'all see how the scenes are coming along and everything else. And then every now and then, maybe with 2 months down the line or something, you'll see really cool action stuff, right? But we're not gonna show you much because we don't want to spoil anything. We just want to get y'all knowing that look, this is the kind of stuff we bring in. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty excited about that. But that's how the production is going to be going. Expect us to have massive, and I mean massive updates within 2 months. Not oh we just started working. Like we're gonna have like almost an entire episode done in 2 months or something like that. So just be aware of that. You're not gonna see the episode, but you'll at least be able to see like a 5 minute chunk or something, just so you can get your the energy going, and we'll go from there. All right, so let's see what we got here. Got some questions. Uh, let's see. Someone said, "What city are we gonna see in the theaters?" All the theaters. All right. So one thing we're doing is we're going national with our movie theaters. So at least 500 theaters. So that should be in every state in the country. You know what I mean? I don't know what cities, but every state in the country should have 2 or 3 movie theaters that have Black Sands in it minimum, right? The bigger states probably have a crap load more, right? Whereas some place like Nebraska has like 2, right? But that's how it is. Let's see. Will there be an anime opening? We haven't thought about this at all, have we? We haven't talked anything about like trailers or teasers. Have you had a conversation with Carl about trailers or anything?
At all.
We
Which
haven't. Okay.
also is a ton of animations to do if you do or not. Depends on the type of opening, but
That's
you
what
know,
I'm thinking too. It's like it's a lot of resources. I'm thinking it's a lot of resources for like it
maybe
will
they're
make sense.
just asking about if either we are doing a song or not.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't think we're doing that, man. I think that's a little expensive and not in our original plan. So we have a lot planned for this. So this is like a 90 plus minute, like it's like 95 or 95 minutes to 100 minutes. So this, I don't think we want to go too hard on something that's like a little thing. With that being said, we will obviously have an opener for like regular season, right? Regular season episodes, right? But probably not for this one. No. Will it have Invincible? No, Invincible. First of all, Invincible spends way too much money. So I'm sure Jung Yun has seen the absolute ridiculous budgets that some of these like Western animations have that make no sense. There's like no way they spent $20 million on season one. You're like, there's no way they did it. But it's like it's union stuff. It's union stuff. It's investor capital, so nobody's using their own money,
Also, I
right?
think that 20 is pretty good. So,
You said
like
20 million
usually,
for a season.
yeah, I mean, Arcane would go to multiple hundred. I think so.
Yeah, but Arcane is ridiculous though. Yeah, Arcane was trying to prove a point. They made something that was absolutely ridiculous. So and it was fact that it was 1 hour episodes, like 8 of them.
Hmm.
Like 9 episodes. That's ridiculous. That's a
Hmm.
ridiculous amount of animation. 9 hours per
Yeah,
season at that level. They got
just
off
because it's
cheap.
Riot.
Yeah, they got off cheap. Well, right. They have infinite money, so they don't care, right? Selling
Mhm.
skins. Someone said this is the guy from Arcane. Yeah, can you talk about your experience with Arcane?
Oh, well, when I say that, people usually I do a storyboard and character animation, 2D character animation, and FXs. So a lot of people think that I was doing FXs on Arcane, but actually, I was one of the starting member of Arcane season one when they started, when it was like super secret project, and I started working on the character animation in CG. So I was also CG animator at that time.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you're doing CGs and stuff too. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
Someone
not
said,
much now, but
what would be the rating? So this is kind of the same question, so I'll answer both of them. So it's PG-13 most likely, right? PG-13. That's our vibe, right? People die, but we ain't going hardcore. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think you ever really need R, right? Unless the content explicitly has very vitriolic things. I just don't see why people go R for no reason. Like there'll be like just some little blood or something, and they'll be like, "Let's go, let's make this rated R." I'd be like, "You lost half your audience, like just by doing that." You know what I'm saying? It's like now if somebody's like naked running around all over the place, then yeah, I understand. Might as well go R, right? But it's like just language or something like that, and people are like, "Yeah, I'm going R because I want some language," and somebody's gonna get their head cut off. You could have cut their head off and still been PG-13, right? You just don't have to show the gore. So whatever, right? Let's see. Personal question, Jung Yun, what do you like most about Black Sands?
What like most is that I was actually I didn't know at all about it, and I was just going through the script and looking at how the story evolves, and I think it's what I like is that we're kind of staying on a the Black Sands comics is kind of feeling like a shonen or something like that. It's like fighting and evolving, and it's not too much into like free cliche. It is sticking to like stereotypes, but I like how the characters are kind of evolving. I think it's great actually,
Mm,
and also like I saw earlier like someone was like asking about black representation, but actually I don't even think that should be a question. It's just about that characters are interesting or not. So like
yeah,
this is happening in North Africa, and story is interesting, characters are interesting. We don't even think about it.
yeah, 100%. And it's true, man. That's one thing I was very conscious of, right? I didn't want to make a character that was basically exactly like every other shonen character, even though it's basically a shonen series, right? Is that? But I didn't want to make the characters that one dimensional, right? All right.
Hmm.
So like Asar's like this ruthless character,
Hmm.
but he's also like super like protective of his family, and is actually a really great leader, like military wise. Like he can he's very calm and collective in a battle, right?
Hmm.
And that's something that you normally don't see. That's something that you would see something like old Chinese, some
Hmm.
really old school like military stories, but never in like a modern day manhwa, something like that. You don't see those kind of characters, right? They got to be so innocent or so redeemable. And I'm like, he's
Hmm.
a prince. He's a prince in the ancient kingdom.
Hmm.
Not gonna be the best guy in the world. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so yeah, I really think that we did really good with that. Well, let's
Hmm.
see. Will Black Sands anime have unexpected cliffhangers? Nope, not in this movie. It's gonna finish. All right. So I know people love cliffhangers and stuff, but when you're making a movie, you can't have a cliffhanger. Not in movies, maybe in like seasons and stuff like that, right? Because you want somebody to watch the next episode, right? So every episode's basically gonna have a cliffhanger. But in a movie, you want people to feel like they finished the story in the movie theater, right? So I would not expect any cliffhangers at the end of Black Sands. Let's see. So animation is the body when your work is born. Uh, Someone said a lot of anime has inappropriate, immodest content. Hope we are not doing any of that. I guess not. I mean, at the end of the day, right? I care more about story, right? So I don't do stuff for the tropes of it, right? There's no fan service in Black Sands. Like, hey, let's get some fan service in there, right? Or there's typical stuff that you would normally see in anime. But with that being said, right, it can be very brutal at times. All right, and Jung Yun caught a lot of that horror part of it. Like he emphasized the horror part of the Black Sands. So a
Hmm.
lot of people don't. If you don't read comic books religiously, like Black Sands comic books religiously, when ancients are involved, things get bad very quickly. It's not like, oh man, there's ancients. We're about to have an equal fight. No, people start dying left and right. It's a very chaotic experience when ancients are involved. Period. So we wanted to emphasize that in Black Sands that yes, men are very like men themselves are much a threat, right? Nations can go to war against each other, but when the ancients are involved, it's like some freaking really horrific stuff sometimes, right? And we caught that while making it not R rated R. So, Jonghyun, what do you think about that? How do you feel about the elements of like horror and dread that we kind of brought into this episode? Because you were a part of you did a lot of those scenes.
I think the horror part, I mean, the scary part is kind of mild compared to the fact that we actually can put a little bit of gore. And I don't know, you're asking to an artist, and we're often, um, how to say, you know, working with a lot of restrictions. So as soon as you get a green light for blood, we go for it.
Yeah, yeah. For us, we definitely went to like not go overboard as far as like the graphical part of it, right?
Mhm.
But we did want to see that sense of doom, that sense of like overwhelming situations, right? And it will get worse. It'll get a lot worse later on in the story, right? Because some of these level enemies are way more powerful than what we're presenting here. But I think what we have to do whenever we make movies, whenever we make stories, is we can't go to the highest possible threat right at the beginning of a series. Right? If you do that, you mess up the whole. There's no growth after that, right? It's like it's like you already messed up. So we kept it kind of mild, but you'll see it, you'll like it. It's very intense, and I know that people are really gonna love that. Let's see. All right, this is the last question I'm gonna take, and then we will be letting Jung Yun go, right? So he can go and do what he's got to do. Probably get back to the grind. But I'll still stick around and answer any questions that you guys might have. But William Chandler asked, "What is the most important thing you want to feel coming out of the Black Sands film when it ends?" Uh, I just want people to feel like a new genre has been created, right? Because the reality is this is probably going to be the first time ever you're going to have a feature film about an ancient African civilization, period. Right? It doesn't even have to be anime, just straight up ancient African civilization doing something heroic, right? It's like, so if we pull that off and we're successful, right, even mildly successful, it doesn't matter. So long as we're profitable, we've started a genre. Because at that point, you just make more. You can make infinite amount of these. You can tell stories in other parts of Africa. You can just go crazy. It's a whole new genre opening up in which typically Hollywood would never in a million years invest in. Right? Like, I'm never going to invest in anything here. But we can always fund it ourselves. And since it was profitable to make the first movie, people will invest in the next and the next and the next. They'll never miss an investment because they're getting paid for it, right? It's one thing when you make a project and nobody's going to get a check. It's another thing when everybody's guaranteed, if the movie is successful, that they're going to get their percentage. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to get more than what they invested in. That people will, the confidence level for the entire genre will go through the roof, right? So hopefully that's what we do. We make a whole new genre of stories, right? We start making the age of African antiquities, just like we had an age of Vikings and we had an age of Greece, right? Those like good 10 years straight of nothing but Greek movies about ancient Greece. It was like it was like a straight 10 years straight, not a single thing. And they were making like eight a year, eight major movies a year, and TV series. And then they did Vikings for like 10 straight years, right? And the reason why Vikings popped off was exclusively because of that one series, a low budget series from the History Channel. When they did the Vikings and it hit, and people were like, I like the Vikings. This is cool, right? All of a sudden, they started doing all this Viking stuff. They did it for 10 straight years. Everything was Viking movies, Viking film, Viking TV, Viking anime, all because of one show that actually worked. And it was very low budget. First season, they could barely put 20 people on the field to fight each other. They're like, well, that's too many people, man. We can't afford 100 people for this battle. Let's get 20 guys, right? So that's how it was. But they do what they can to get the movie out, get the story out, and if it's a success, the next season has 10 times the budget. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we got to do. We got to create our age of antiquities, and I believe Black Sands can do that. So yeah. So Jonghyun, you got any closing words for our supporters? Because they're your supporters too. They paid your checks.
Sure, sure. Um, well, I'm glad to be here today to talk a bit with you and present that I'm really happy to have worked on this project and to keep going if as far as I can, and I think you'll all gonna be pretty happy with what we're doing. So yeah,
Yeah,
just wait.
there's a guarantee right there. He said you're gonna be happy with it. All right, this guy makes hotness for a living, so you're gonna see some dope stuff. Okay. Thank you so much, Dan Young Yun. I'm gonna still hang on here, but you can roll out whenever you like. Appreciate you being here, taking the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, guys. So yeah, man, it's great to be able to talk to people like that, right? To actually see who's working behind it, the face, the name behind the production. Because at the end of the day, man, when we tell you we're making an anime, we always got a couple of haters in the comment section saying that's not an anime. It needs to be made by this. It needs to be made by that. That's what y'all be doing, man. Coming up in here all country like. So we gotta let y'all know, man. One Piece, Vinland Saga, Riot, Arcade. Come on, man. What we doing here? Someone said Shaka Zulu was the first movie. Remember, Shaka Zulu was made by South Africans. Never forget that. We ain't make it. We ain't make it. Let's see. Let's see. What is the plan for the last raised deficit? I don't think we need one. I think we got pretty close. We got pretty close, and we made a couple of cuts. Now, this is the thing that people don't understand, right? Because we didn't have time to get directors. We didn't have time to get the people that you normally would get for production, right? And I wrote the entire script, right? I wrote the entire script. I helped manage for the animatic and stuff like that. There's a lot of positions that you normally would have to hire for that we just filled. We just filled those positions, and we don't get paid until the end. So while there might be on the books, so let's say on the books there's like $4 million, right? Let's just say on the books there's $4 million for this production. Realistically, it's more like 2.5 million up front, right? 2.5 million up front, and there's like 1.5 million in arrears and uncollected fees, right? Because these are things that we're basically like, because we basically are shareholders, right? We're owners. We can wait to get paid, right? We don't want to hurt the production to get paid right now. You know what I mean? I could wait. I could wait to get my check, right? And it's probably not even going to be that much. It's probably not going to be all the way up to that amount, because I remember I had very specific lower cost. For instance, I believe when you do a script like this for a 90-minute film and stuff like that, it's looking at like $80,000. That's usually how much it would cost for a script like this, right? But I did it for 30,000. You know what I'm saying? I did it for 30K just because I just didn't feel like, I don't want to. I want it's my movie, so I don't care. But I need to get paid for it because it took a long time. Right? It took a long time, but I'm not trying to be greedy on that. And we've made decisions like that all across the entire thing. So there's a lot of cost that we normally would have to pick up, right? And pick up early in order to finish the movie, that we don't have to because we actually filled a lot of those roles. So that's a cool thing about it. So what we're going to do as far as like the differences, it might be like tax credits. It might be just straight up like, uh, you know, what's it called? Loans, right? Like loans and stuff like that, right? Debt, right? Because at the end of the day, we might be paying 7% interest, right? You pay 7% interest for whatever money you spend on it, right? But If you went for an outside investor, you can get the money, but they probably want long-term points. They definitely want how you're going to distribute it. They want to be a part of that. They want to be a part of how you're going to license it, how you're going to merchandise it. They want to be a part of it. They want to have control, not just their money in there, right? And wouldn't you rather just have a bank? You pay your 7% for now until it's back. That's how I do it. You know what I mean? And everybody else, they recover their money. As far as like all that gap, that comes when from like pre-sales. So if we pre-sale rights to other countries, that's when we'll get paid eventually, right? But we haven't got paid yet. So everybody under production, so me, Carl Reed, right, and the officers in our companies, nobody got paid. Nobody got paid yet because we're the people who are the owners, right? So we might as well wait, right? Believe in the product, right? Remember homeboy from Black Wall Street? He was taking like a 50% fee. He was taking like a 50% management fee every year. So all the money that you guys were investing in him to go and build Black Wall Street, and he took half the money as a fee for management right up front, which is why y'all couldn't buy no properties and why y'all couldn't build any productions. That was a greedy dude, man. That was a greedy ass dude. Let's see. Taking questions right now. No, that don't exist anymore, man. We did a little trailer and that was it, brother. That was it. That was it. When our partnership ended, right? When our partnership ended, that production ended. That don't exist anymore. Let's see. Sabrina says initially you stated that we'd be ready by the summer of 2025, but it sounds like we're going to be into 2026, correct? Well, the investment round took longer. Remember, we were supposed to be done with the investment round by December. Remember? That's what we were talking about. We were talking about, hey, let's get this investment done. Let's get our momentum going. But we didn't have the momentum. We didn't have the momentum to finish the investment round in December. So we finished our investment round at the end of February, right? So that's already 3 months past that, right? And we don't go into production until April. So if you're looking at that timetable, it takes about 6 months to finish everything, and that's blazing speed. But we can get it done in 6 months, right? And the only reason why we're not releasing in the Christmas is because it's not a good time to release. It's not a good time to release, right? I'd rather release in February, personally, you know. As a black anime, I'd rather release in February and take my time marketing it. You know what I mean? So that's why we're looking at a February release. Not because we can't release in 2025, but because it would be a little impractical to release in 2025. It'd be all rushed. You know what I'm saying? As far as like sales and distribution and marketing, I don't think we'll need to do all that rush. You know what I mean? I don't know what this question is. How do you feel being black people? I get it now. I had to go break up the sentence a bit, right? You're saying that I am like Akira Toriyama and Stan Lee of the black community. I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. I hope I do end up being that in the future, right? That path maker. You know what I mean? Hopefully that's the case, man. Hopefully that's the case. Me personally, I'd rather be the guy that's that for like African history. You know what I mean? Like comics and anime is just a form of consuming the product. The real product I'm selling is ancient African antiquities with really cool stories. You know what I mean? So the story is great enough where you're like, I'm invested in this. I want to read it, even though what my real objective is to teach you about ancient world and to show the rich history of our ancestors. You know what I mean? So that's really the goal, is to show how dope black people were, and how awesome they always will be, right? That's kind of what I'm supposed to be doing. And in the process, I do it in anime form or comic form or whatever, right? But that's not what I'm doing, right? I'm not making superheroes. I'm not making a superhero universe. I'm not doing any of that stuff. I'm focusing specifically on, right, a specific genre. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, someone said they liked 3D back in the day. Hey, there's nothing wrong with 3D. We probably won't be using it much. Backgrounds might be 3D. Like background, I like backgrounds being 3D sometimes. So we never know, right? But most of it's gonna be 2D for this anime. Oh, and guess what? No AI. So I know people saw some AI stuff, right? Some AI renders early in the production and stuff. But you gotta remember this, man. We ain't had no money. We didn't have no money at the time. So we were just trying to get something out there just so you guys can like see some yada yada yada. But at this point, it's all hand drawn animation, right? Hundreds of animators. So we're paying people directly now, and we're getting this production done. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about no AI and Black Sands. Okay, we're gonna it's all gonna be authentically drawn. I need my new gold card. Yeah, so there's a lot of people who upgrade to gold cards. Don't worry about it. I have to order the cards. The campaign has just finished recently, so I might need a couple more weeks, but you'll probably be able to claim yours in the middle of April. All right, everybody should be able to claim their cards in the middle of April. Nollywood Animation Studios. Yeah, we already do that. Well, not Nollywood. My bad. My bad. I meant to say Nollywood. I meant to say Bollywood. We do work with Indian companies. My bad. We work with Indian companies. No Nigerian companies when it comes to animation. They have a capacity issue. So they just have a capacity issue. They don't have enough people. You know what I mean? So, when you're working on an anime like this, especially a 90-minute movie, you got to have like 100 animators. You know what I'm saying? So even if their price is competitive, and I believe in Nigeria it is competitive pricing, at the end of the day, they just don't have enough animators to pull it off. You know what I mean? Yeah, I heard of that too. Afro anime. Yeah, I don't really care. I don't really care. Right. At the end of the day, everybody keeps making generic products. We don't make generic products here, right? We don't do generic products here. So what happens is, right? I'm just gonna call it anime regardless. It's nothing new, nothing crazy, right? But the story is completely different. The story is completely different from what everybody else is doing, and that's what makes it amazing. That's what makes it cool. So that's what we're doing right now. By the way, if you're here and you're not a patron, please sign up for Patreon. We got some new books coming. Since I'm no longer writing the anime because I'm done writing the anime, right? I'm writing the season finale of Black Sands, right? So we got 4 more chapters to go, and I'm running through them right now. I'm running through them, and we'll probably have them all done by I would say August. August is probably when everything's going to be done. That's going to be the end of season 1. Season 1's a wrap. Season 1 of Black Sands will be a wrap. We'll be going into season 2, right? And we'll finally meet Gilgamesh, and we'll be in Sumer. Y'all don't know, man. Y'all ain't ready for the Sumerian chapters. Y'all not ready for the Sumerian chapters. But it's gonna be epic, man. It's gonna be epic. Y'all gonna love y'all some Gilgamesh. And my Gilgamesh ain't no blonde haired, blue eyed Gilgamesh. All right. my my Gilgamesh ain't no blonde haired, blue eyed Gilgamesh. That's for sure. All right. So we ain't doing none of that here. Let's see. You said adult Asar. I don't think we're gonna be having adult Asar for a while, man. Adult Star ain't gonna be around for a while, but when it does happen, we gonna have some video games for sure. We gonna have some video games for sure. Let's see. Someone said, I became an investor when I once I saw Michael Jai White and Michael Page. Big fan of both. You take your time with them? Not really. In all honesty, we got them pretty quick. We got Michael Jai White in like 2 weeks. We closed on Michael Jai White real quick. And Michael Venom Page actually been following me for a while. So he's been following my page, Black Sands Entertainment, on Instagram for a while. And he reached out to me before. Said, yo, what's up, man? Love what you're doing, man. Peace out, right? Him, Anderson Silva, they're like cats that you know, they followed me and hit me up and everything else. And I thought one day, I said, you know what, man? I'm gonna go and ask if this guy can be like the choreographer for like a SAR, like if he could do some style for a SAR, like combat style. Because I always loved how Michael Venom Page has lunging attacks, right? He's a specialist when it comes to lunging attacks. And you know, if you're somebody who's fighting people with swords, right? People got swords, people got spears. You're fighting giant monsters that you have to like jump to attack. You better be a specialist at lunging attacks. You better be a specialist at one shots, not combos. You're not doing this shit right here, doing Iron Fist, 7,000 punches in 1 minute type thing. Nah, you're doing haymakers. You're doing haymakers and one shots. And that's what a SAR needs to be. He needs to be that. And even though we draw it well in the comic books, right? We draw it well. It's better to see it in real life, especially in animation. It needs to be more dynamic. So these one shots happen. And our SAR's lit. You're gonna love it. When y'all see a SAR fighting, you're gonna be like, that dude's a menace. He's a menace on day one. That's what y'all gonna be saying. You're gonna be like, he's a menace on day one. Day one, he's a menace. What's he gonna be later on? Oh no, Gilgamesh. My Gilgamesh is Sumerian. He's Sumerian. So basically an Iranian. Basically an Iranian. It's cool. You'll like Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is lit, man. Will there be any auditions for next anime series? Well, one thing is these are all closed at submissions. So 100% everything that's done in the Black Sands anime, the actual like show, is closed submissions. There is no open submissions for them, right? So it's all like established voice actors and stuff like that. So I don't want to get anybody's hopes up thinking that they can apply to the anime when they can't, right? They can apply to the YouTube series, but they can't apply to the actual like anime. The anime is like closed. You know what I mean? Do we still have a chance of getting Keith David? Probably not. Not for Black Sands anyway. He is a limited amount of adults, right? There's a limited amount of adults in Black Sands. A lot of them already cast. That's it, right? Not many adults left, so there's not much opportunity to get any more big names. Somebody's hit the likes. Yeah, you gotta hit the likes, man. Help me out with the algorithm. Hey, but guess what, guys? Thank you guys so much for talking with us tonight. This is a major update. We just talked to our action director for the Black Sands anime, so we're working very hard. Right, we got the right people at the right places, and as I said, we're looking to have the entire anime done in October. All right, the entire anime needs to be done in October, and we want to have a release most likely in February. But you never know. We might have a release in December if we get a good deal. If we get a good distribution deal, we might have a Christmas release. Wouldn't that be kind of cool, right? A Christmas release, Black Sands. You never know. But that only if we have like a really good deal. We don't have a good deal on the table like immediately. then we're gonna go and make sure that we have the February release. So that's what we're gonna be doing. And like I said, if you're not a patron yet, join Patreon. The link is right there at the bottom. It's scrolling. Patreon.com/Black Sands. Become a member, and you get all our digital comic books, right? And you also get other opportunities as well. Let's see. Someone said, we got a Black Sand Street Fighter Tekken type game. You know what I really want? You know what I really want? Have y'all ever played? Have y'all ever played Warriors back in the day? It was like the original. It was like Diablo, right? But it was like only like 4 classes. There was like warrior, sorcerer, archer, and something else, right? Probably thief or something. But it was like only 4 classes, right? So they had very unique kits, and you would just be playing as them as like a team, right? And you'd be playing at the arcade and stuff like that, and they would just be going at it. You'd be finding items, leveling up your character, and everything else, right? The thing that I want is I want something like that, right? But for like Asar, Seth, Nabet, and Aset, right? And they're like a team in that kind of game, right? And it's a 4-player like Diablo type game, right? Or Path of Exiles type game, where and it's heavily story driven. So you're like deep in like ancient territory and stuff like that. And you have like armies and stuff attacking each other, and you like have to help the army push forward with like your super character. That'd be lit. That'd be lit. Oh yeah, it was Gauntlet. Gauntlet Legends. Gauntlet Legends. That's what it was. It was Gauntlet Legends. Gauntlet Legends was the game. That was the game. That was a classic, man. That was the classic. If y'all know anything about gaming, the Gauntlet Legends series was a freaking classic in arcade gaming. Red Warrior found the scimitar of Thraxus. Y'all understand when y'all found that was lit? When you were playing that game and you found a legendary item, you almost lost your freaking mind. Red Warrior has gained a level. Y'all don't understand, man. We gotta make that energy back. We gotta get that energy back. We gotta get that energy back because that mess was like literally the funnest time you've ever had as a team. When you played as a team, and people used to like be like, "Help me, bro! Resurrect me!" Yeah, so that's what we got, man. Kingdoms of Amalur was dope, man. I wish that game actually finished, man. I wish that game was came out the way they really wanted it to, because it was beautiful. So we're gonna do something like that one day. We will. But that's a long time from now. It won't happen right now, but it's gonna come out eventually. So I hope you guys have a great time. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. And like I said, we're gonna have more updates coming for you next month. But things are moving smoothly right now. We're lucky. We raised enough money that we shouldn't have to look for more money. So we should be able to finish for what we got. All right. Thank you guys. See you.